All right. Well, this is a huge moment for me. I know everybody on our social media has been freaking out because I haven't told them who I'm getting the chance to talk to today. Now, this man needs no introductions in my world. I have to say, I am a huge fan of Fall Out Boy. I would consider myself an OG young blood slash overcast kid slash believer slash car crash hearts. I don't know 100% what our name is anymore. But this is the lead singer of my favorite band in the entire world, Fall Out Boy, Patrick Stump.
How's it going? Yeah, I hope I'm not a letdown surprise for those people in your socials.
No, they have heard me freaking out about this upcoming tour, so much for Tour Dust and the album, so much for Stardust. We are so excited because July 24th, we're lucky enough to have Fall Out Boy grace us with that tour at our very own, I think, Financial Amphitheater here in West Palm Beach. Now, it's been a little while since we've had you guys back specifically in West Palm Beach. We have a local music festival, Patrick, and you guys performed at our Sunfest. But this year, this tour I hear is going to be epic. I know that the fans are massively excited. So first, is there anything different that you can tell us about So Much for Tour Dust that might be different from some of the other Fall Out Boy tours?
Well, so there's a certain degree of secrecy, so I don't really get to spoil too much. But I will say that that it's going to be very different physically. What you see on stage is going to be different than if you've seen us in the past, I don't know, 5-10 years. It'll be something that you haven't seen yet. So hopefully that works too. I don't want to spoil anything, but
right. No,
there's a lot of moving parts. So I've been involved in the design of it stuff, but I haven't seen any of it yet. So I get to rehearsals next week, and I'll find out how much it works.
Right. Yeah. So, okay. Well, we have a lot more surprises. Really excited about that. Now, speaking of kicking things off, June 21st in your hometown, you guys are playing Wrigley Field. How crazy is that for you guys, going back to kind of where it all started and putting on one of the biggest shows ever?
Yeah. It really doesn't make sense to me. It doesn't. It's hard. It's really surreal. Because I mean, when I say it's like beyond my wildest dreams or something like that, I mean, like literally when I was a kid, I didn't even know you could play Wrigley Field unless you were playing baseball. It wasn't a thing that bands did really. It's like people like, Billy Joel or whatever, or Paul McCartney or something would do a place like that. It's like massive icons or whatever, like if you said, Madonna was going to play there, I'd be like, sure, yeah, totally. But then like Fall Out Boy, you're like, I don't really, So, and this will be our third time playing there too, which is crazy. It doesn't then, it's beyond me. So.
I can't even imagine. Now, speaking of, I'm sure that you can't speak for everyone in the band, but you guys have done some really epic performances over the years. Of course, as you mentioned, Wrigley Field, inducting Green Day into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, performing at this year's Honda NHL All-Star Game, like just some epic type performances. What would you say? I'm sure it's hard to pick one, but what would you say is like one of the highlights of your career so far?
I mean, there's been so many, but
I'm sure.
I think it's hard to like pick a thing, but I do think that there's these little moments, it's funny, there's a book just came out where they interview a bunch of bands. This guy Chris Payne did this book, and he interviewed me about it, and kind of like the history of the band and stuff. And there was this one show that I really kind of forgot how big it was for us, which was this skate and surf festival in like, I don't remember what year that was, 2003 or something like that. And the thing that was so wild about it was kind of by accident, there were like 5,000 people there for us. Like they weren't there for us, but they were stuck and had to watch us. It's a long story. But so I don't know that. So I'm on stage and we do like this high five where we high five before we play. And I turn around and there's 5,000 people. Now an audience kind of looks all the same once it's big. You can't really tell the difference, but that's the most I've played to bigger audiences since then, but that show at that time, that's like, it was the most people I could, yeah, no, it was the most people I could have imagined seeing, and it was totally like, I turned around and I'm like, oh no, like, that's I have to play to this many people right now. So
That is amazing. I'm sure I can't even put myself in your shoes. Now, you mentioned 2003. Let's take it back there. Now, although there is that same soul in your voice and the band has always got that same like rock vibe, the fans have really seen Fall Out Boy's music transition over the years from 2003's Take This to Your Grave to now with so much for Stardust. So what do you think, number one, is the biggest difference in the sound of the music from then to now? And how do you guys keep doing it? How do you keep evolving the music and just grasping the fan base back in time again for 20 years?
I really don't know. The latter part, I have no idea. I have no idea what people are still with us for it. But I'm a weird guy, I'm kind of, I kind of just like music in general, so I don't really, I at the same time as I was like a punk rocker in like basements and doing, playing blast beats and like hardcore bands and stuff, I was listening to jazz and soul and funk and classical and stuff. So there's like always this part of me, especially that I can't really be pinned down too long. It freaks me out. If I make the same thing over and over again, it's like suffocating, So I don't know how not to do that. I don't know how not to change over time. And it's amazing that our audience sees that with us, that, we've been able to do, some really weird, like punk, sometimes almost hardcore records. And then, some like full on like funk records and like, disco records and stuff. And, arena rock and little jazzy interludes and blues and whatever. It's amazing that our audience follows us for that. I have no idea why, but thanks.
Yeah. Well, you can definitely tell that like your love of music is there and that you've definitely let a lot of different genres and instruments like influence the sound of Fall Out Boy's music over the years. So I'm speaking for everybody, just keep doing what you're doing because it's absolutely working. Now I have to talk about this. Our 2023 iHearRadio Music Festival lineup was just announced, and speaking of being mind blown, Fall Out Boy headlining this year amongst some other huge names in the industry, Foo Fighters, Kelly Clarkson, Tim McGraw is going to be there. Now, I know that Fall Out Boy has collaborated with Lil Wayne in the past. He was on the track Tiffany Blues. Now, I definitely think that I might pass out if I ever got to see that collaboration live, but I don't know if you're allowed to say, is there a chance that we're going to see one of these once in a lifetime collaborations at the iHearRadio Music Festival?
I don't know yet. I don't know. I think it also kind of comes from, who's wanting to do that. I haven't heard from Lil Wayne. I don't know if he wants to. And that song is really difficult, especially. But I mean, there's so many amazing artists there, like you said. So it's kind of hard to even pin down, what, if anything, we would do. But, hey, did you say Lenny Kravitz was there too?
Yes, Lenny Kravitz is there as well.
If Lenny wants to do something, or if Dave Grohl wants to do something, I'm around.
All right, a little like American Woman meets America's Sweethearts or something. I'm just ideas out.
Yeah.
Now, speaking of some of Fall Out Boy's most famous tracks, as a super fan, I have to say that like every time I hear even the beginning of Sugar We're Going Down, your girl starts freaking out. What is one of the most fun songs for you to perform? I'm sure it is hard to pick one.
It is. I have a really hard time zeroing in on it because Sugar is amazing because of the way people react. It's also, that's a funny one to play too, because my voice has changed so much over the years. When I started singing, I wasn't a singer. I just kind of like landed in it. I was a drummer, and
That's what I was going to say is
Yeah.
initially you had thought about being the drummer of Fall Out Boy, correct?
Yeah, I was the drummer in every other band I've ever been in. I played drums,
Okay.
except for like 2 weeks I was in a reggae band where I played bass. But otherwise, I played drums and everything. So it was so singing was not something that I thought of, and I was really kind of just like, you know, fake it till you make it, kind of just doing it for a long time. And so there's something fun about singing Sugar now, where like, because when we recorded it, that was like the top of my range. That was like the hardest thing for me to sing. And now it's like, it's right there. I don't even have to think about it. So it's fun to, that's a fun one to sing because I, I, it comes so naturally now. It used to be this thing that I was, I would like close my eyes and hope I would hit that note. And now it's like, it's there. I got it. But I don't know. I think there's a lot of different ones. I'm kind of a shy person, in case that isn't very obvious. And so it's fun for me, the songs that kind of theatrically like pull out the like showman stuff, where like it kind of forces me to like be out there. So like I really like Arms Race for that. I really like I just can't help but like I just dance a little bit, which is very not me. It's very like, but it just kind of comes out, And then and like Light 'Em Up to another one where I just kind of all of a sudden I'm all over the stage. And it's this weird thing where if I look at it, I'm like, geez, did I do that? Like it's so not me. I'm such a like reserved person. So it's weird that I just kind of like it just spontaneously happens.
Well, I'm sure that simultaneously, like you're doing that for a ton of people in the audience that wouldn't normally dance like no one's watching in public, but you can't
Yeah.
not dance to the songs at a Fall Out Boy show. Yeah, trust me. Now, in case nobody has ever been, there's also usually like a ton of theatrics. There's like pyrotechnics and like fun short films that you guys put together. So how much fun is that process of planning out the tour and putting your own personality and spin on it?
It's wild because I mean, there's so many moving parts. It becomes like a show, less like a concert and more like a show, and like you said, it's kind of this theatrical thing. And I kind of like it in a lot of ways because like I said, I'm kind of like if I had to sit there with a guitar, if I had to like sit there with a stool and an acoustic guitar and like sing and like tell you stories and stuff, I would be terrified. I think that would be like absolutely terrifying to be up in front of people and like have to, and like talk and stuff. But when there's like fire and like explosions and stuff, like you just can't help but like it's like you only have two options. Either you like lean into that and you're like, I'm doing this, or you're like, oh no, it's the end, like the explosion happens and you're like, oh no, that was.
Well, it's amazing. Everybody's absolutely got to get out to the West Palm Beach show. Again, that's July 21st, I think, Financial Amphitheater. Now, I know that Fall Out Boy all has a hand in the creative process of actually coming up with the music. I know that that's been the case for a very long time. I have been listening to so much for Stardust, like on repeat. I have to say that I think that it is so cool that there are these really melodic like intros to the song, and specifically like I Am My Own Muse. That song I think needs to be like the soundtrack of somebody like lighting fire at a Fall Out Boy show and never turning back around, like just walking away. What is like, how did that begin where you guys started adding these like really intricate music beds before and or after the tracks?
Well, so I've always been the music guy. Like it's weird because I'm the singer, so but like I said, that wasn't really my plan, But I love, I get obsessed with the music, and it's like the thing that I can't, there's a kind of mad scientist vibe where I just like it's like all I'm thinking, and so I'll be in a conversation with somebody and there's just music getting written in my head. And so that actually came from I've been doing film scores for the past like 8 years, like film and TV, like music in the background kind of stuff. And so I've been working with orchestras, and there was this thing, and I just started writing it, I think I was playing around with themes for maybe a movie, and I started writing it. And I'm like, no, I want this. I like this. This isn't for this movie. This is for us. Um, Sometimes when something really speaks to you, you're like, no, I want this. I'm going to have this.
Yeah, well, so glad that you did. Again, like I thought it was absolutely genius. Loving the album so much for Stardust, the tour, of course, so much for Tour Dust. And of course, we're going to get to see Fall Out Boy at the 2023 iHeartRadio Music Festival.
Yeah, of
Patrick Stump, thank you so much for sitting down with us today. We are
course.
beyond ecstatic to have you back here in West Palm Beach, but really looking forward to everything on the tour and everything that Fall Out Boy is up to in the near future.
Thanks so much. Thanks for having me.